Facts. See if we can slow down a little bit more. There you go. Alright. My hair look crazy. Alright, so we are live right now.
Yep, and it says on my phone.
It's your boy Official Seymour, and then you got we out here. We're about to do some reacting. We're gonna do it live. I might play a couple games of Resident Evil. I might play Resident Evil 4 a little bit too, but we'll see. Alright, we'll see. Yeah, I'm gonna send it to some people.
Didn't think anyone was left. You must be pretty tough. Huh.
Welcome to Mojo Plays, and today we're taking on the T-Virus and its many forms in the fight for our lives as we tank control our way through the hardest boss fight from every Resident Evil game.
Check the stream.
For this list, we'll be looking at the hardest boss from only the mainline entries in the Resident Evil series. What was the hardest and most intimidating boss you fought in a Resident Evil game? Let us know down in the comments.
Welcome to the family, son.
Welcome to the family, son.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Queen Leech, Resident Evil 0.
We'll see which one of us is gonna die!
The Resident Evil series and its ability to take a common creature and twist it into a nightmarish version of its former self is a hallmark of the franchise. Resident Evil 0 ups the ante by not only making the Queen Leech sentient, but also giving her the ability to shapeshift and making her nearly invulnerable.
Is this the leech?
Initially taking on the form of the scientist that was experimenting on her, the Queen reveals her true, horrendously mutated form
Did you
to
play this
Billy
game?
Rebecca after confidently laying out her world domination plans.
I've never
because
beaten it.
monologuing is also
Maybe
a
I should
side
do a
effect
stream
the
of me
T-Virus.
beating it. I've never beaten it.
After an initial encounter, she returns bigger and madder than ever. The confined space and enormous size of the Queen Leech does give her an advantage, but at least with help from Rebecca, Billy was able to shine some light on the situation and end her reign before it began. Yawn, Resident Evil Remake.
Yawn. Oh, that's the snake.
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes? One of the first mutated BOWs Alpha Team encounters in the Spencer Mansion, this massive snake is first encountered in the attic, where the player's role in this fight
I
is to
remember
simply
this snake.
survive
It was
long enough
annoying.
for the snake to finish off Richard, so the player can acquire his shotgun to chase the snake off for the time being. Yawn will reappear later in the library, and with no backup this time, it's a fight to the death, mano a mano. Slithering its way between the bookshelves, the snake can no longer poison the player, but that doesn't make it any less deadly. With Richard's shotgun in hand, it's time to dish out some payback and put an end to the coiling nightmare for good. Mr. X, Resident Evil 2 Remake.
Mr. X?
I have a challenge for all of you. Go to every computer in your house, your mom's, your dad's, your sister, your brother's computer, and install Honey. Wait, Mom, before you check out, do you have...
See, the thing is, it depends on what we're
X is gonna
judging.
give it to y'all, right? In what would seem to become a running theme in many future entries of the Resident Evil franchise,
See, like, I didn't like.
Mr. X,
Alright,
or
so I'm gonna
Tyrant,
be honest.
would relentlessly stalk the player through the halls of
A
the
lot of people
RCPD,
love the
and
fact
even
that
though he could be put
you
down,
had
this
Mr.
reprieve
X
would only
following
be
you. I
temporary
never liked that
and only seemed
because to
have
me,
increased
I always
further.
thought that
Able
that
to
was
follow
just
the
something
player
they made
through to
up.
different rooms,
Because
nowhere was safe from this proto-Terminator.
Because he
and
wasn't
that's even
that
before his
person.
eventual transformation.
He wasn't like that.
This is
He
Resident
didn't
Evil,
stalk
after all.
you throughout the
Not
whole
that he really
game
needed
on the
it,
original.
as Mr. X will let nothing
His
stand in his
that other
way,
form though,
even a few
that other
minor
form when he's
explosions.
like running
Taking
at
a
you.
mutated claw
that
or a
form is
direct hit from a
strong.
rocket launcher, that'll do it though, depending on whether you're playing Claire or Leon's campaign respectively. Nemesis, Resident Evil 3 Remake.
You gotta get out of there right now!
Alright, let me grab Mike.
The Nemesis.
Whereas Mr. X managed to be an intimidating force with nothing more than a trench coat and a fedora, Nemesis adopts a much more in-your-face approach. Deployed into Raccoon City during the height of the outbreak to hunt down any remaining STARS operatives in an attempt to cover up Umbrella's involvement, Nemesis relentlessly stalks Jill Valentine during her attempts to escape the crumbling city. Each time she thinks she's taking him out for good, he reappears even more mutated than the last time she saw him. Each encounter consistently has Jill on the back foot due to the Nemesis' size and strength that only increases with every subsequent encounter.
That game was fun.
Jill's resourcefulness
Like,
and
we
apparent
don't
ability to
respect
withstand
that game a
firepower
lot,
that
I
can
guess,
crush concrete
because we
gives her
are
the
mad.
edge
Like
and leaves
us
her
as
Nemesis
fans, we're
in
mad
pieces.
because they didn't put a lot into the game. But that was a fun game. Nemesis was fun. He was fun. What were you about to say?
T078, Resident Evil Code Veronica.
Yeah, I didn't like that either. The Tyrant. Ugly.
Whereas Mr. X and Nemesis were evolutions of the Tyrant line of BOWs created by Umbrella, the T078 is one from a mass-produced line, meaning untold numbers of this entity were created. Don't think that just because it's from an assembly line that this makes the T078 any less of a threat, however. Although the T078 only encounters Claire a couple of times during her investigation of Rockfort Island, Claire at least has some experience dealing with tyrants, having survived Mr. X not long ago. Much like its counterparts, the T078 is built to never give up
You
until
played
its
this?
target has been eliminated.
You beat it?
And it takes this directive very seriously.
He wasn't
even
hard to
following
me.
Claire and Steve as they
I wouldn't put
escape
him
the
on this
island.
list, but I mean,
Given the
whatever.
cramped corridors of the plane's loading bay, the T078 clearly has the upper hand until Claire manages to send
Okay,
him
yeah,
packing
yeah,
with
yeah,
a
yeah.
parting
Never mind,
gift.
I would. I don't remember that.
Verdugo, Resident Evil 4.
Verdugo. He was a hard boss. He was definitely a hard boss.
We're all familiar with the joke
Even
about the
on
two
the
kids in a
remake, he was
trench
hard.
coat, but did you hear the one about the Predator-Alien hybrid in a row? Salazar's muscle, Verdugo, isn't a fight you necessarily win, you just do a little better each time. Seemingly just looking for any opportunity when Leon is waiting for a shutter or elevator door to open, Verdugo is a battle of resilience rather than outright winning the fight. Nearly impossible to kill, Leon must dodge its attacks and simply survive a given time limit until he can make his escape. There is a way to put Verdugo down for good if you know what you're doing, and send a chill up its spine the way it did ours as soon as it dropped its robes. Albert Wesker, Resident Evil 5.
Stop playing around. We want some answers.
You haven't changed.
Albert Wesker is number one. He should be number one villain.
Wesker, you are alive.
Just as the T-Virus is synonymous with the Resident Evil series, so too is Albert Wesker as the face of the shadowy Umbrella Corporation.
Now, let's finish this once and for all.
That with Jill.
After his double agent status was revealed, Wesker became Chris's personal vendetta, and this all came to a head in the middle of an active volcano. All of Chris's training had prepared him for this moment, but not for Wesker's inevitable transformation and subsequent acceptance of the monster within. With virtually no help from Shiva, it's up to Chris and his guns to put Wesker down like the backstabbing traitor he is. It's all so infuriating, it just makes you want to punch a boulder.
You like
In the
Wesker?
end, Jill comes through with a helicopter packing
You don't like him?
anti-rocket launchers that
Why
seem
not?
to come equipped standard in all vehicles in the RE universe. And with a couple well-placed shots
Why
and
don't
an
you like
entire
Wesker,
volcano, Wesker's treachery is finally put
He's
to
not
an
fun.
end. Derek Simmons, Resident Evil 6.
Derek Simmons. See that? That animation was so
It's a
dope.
tale as old as time. Boy hires mysterious femme fatale. Boy falls for girl. Girl
You beat
rejects
this too?
boy. Boy becomes an
didn't
unstoppable
beat-
in Resident Evil canon, but also one of the few that could switch back to his human form seemingly at will. Even with a train to catch,
Didn't
he
you beat
never
the
stopped
older
pursuing
ones too?
Leon, Helena,
Oh, yeah,
and Ada across the city, and let his rage even send him back to the prehistoric era. Just when Leon and company thought he might be gone for good, Simmons is resilient, and even after falling for
What about
Ada
two?
all over again, returns like an
No.
annoying fly you just can't swat.
Dang.
And then, like a bolt of lightning, it was over. And thanks to a parting gift from Ada,
You beat the
Simmons
original
finally
Resident
got the
Evil?
point.
You never beat that? Bro, you gotta beat that, bro. You beat Clover Arms yet? You gotta beat that. This is
Jack
all
Baker,
content that you
Resident
can be
Evil
making.
7 Biohazard.
Do I have no attention, boy? You're about to see some more.
You just can't keep a good man down. The patriarch of the Baker family,
You think
Jack won't
Jake-
let
you
anything
think
stand
Jack
between him and his
is a
family.
good, like,
Not
a top tier
Ethan,
villain?
walls, bullets,
Okay.
cars, fire,
I
dismemberment.
think so too. I think he was
Okay,
good.
it's getting out of hand.
I liked him.
Jack Baker seems to delight in living through any and all types of assault delivered by Ethan in his desperate attempts to escape the Baker mansion, even seemingly encouraging Ethan to do his worst. You would think something as insane as a chainsaw fight to the death would be enough to put Jack down for
Kinda,
good,
but he does
horrifically,
more of a block.
No,
He
it
does
isn't.
that.
Jack has eyes everywhere, and all of them are targeting Ethan for disrupting his family home. With all the attention squarely on him, Ethan gives Jack a black eye he'll never forget and puts his lights out permanently.
Margaret, how you say her name? Marguerite. She was a top tier boss battle. He was top
Heisenberg,
tier, but she was
Resident
top tier.
Evil Village.
Heisenberg,
Stress.
yeah, he was annoying.
You don't want to find out what's in that hole.
I'll take my chances.
You're futile.
Say his name. Mutated by Mother Miranda, Heisenberg is a master of ferrokinesis, and this power allows him to bend all forms of metal to his will, which he uses to great effect against Ethan Winters after the latter managed to escape his factory. His mutated form is an amalgamation of machine parts that towers over Ethan and their battlefield, but Ethan has a machine of his own thanks to Chris Redfield. Even with this additional firepower, Heisenberg won't go down easily. Heisenberg throws every piece of metal he can from the surrounding area at Ethan and uses the scraps to make himself even more formidable.
I like
The battle
Heisenberg,
turns up the
but I could have
difficulty
done
once
without
Ethan's
the
mech
part.
is destroyed,
On the
and the
game.
remainder of the fight has Ethan on
And I
the
know
offensive,
people ain't gonna agree
fighting
with that,
at an
but-
enraged Heisenberg from afar until Ethan temporarily regains control of his mech for one final shot to send the metal monstrosity to the scrap.
I don't know. I think he died. He did die. So, which was good. I think Ethan dying was good for the series because we don't have any real deaths. How was not?
Enjoy
All
this
right,
video? Check out
Alright,
these
so,
other clips for Mojo Plays.
Beards,
Be
who
sure to
did they
subscribe
miss?
and
because I'm already like mad.
There's one thing Ethan could have survived because they said, Capcom said they were gonna put Ada to help Leon, no, to help Ethan escape the village, and before Resident Evil, no, when Resident Evil Village was already in development.
Which bosses did they miss on here? You think? bosses that they didn't get. They didn't put Mother Miranda on here. Mother Miranda could be hard. Is she hard though? Maybe she don't deserve to be on here.
I beat her on hardcore. I died like 7 times.
Yeah, she was pretty hard. The room with the gun. What are they called? The Gardoors. Gardoors. They're pretty hard and when there's 2 of them. Not gonna lie, it was pretty annoying to deal with them.
I think the original Resident Evil final boss fight is harder.
Let's watch one more. Then we'll head off for the stream. And we'll start doing stuff like this more often if you want. The 10 hardest parts. Let's watch this one. The 10 hardest parts.
Oh my god, Salazar was so annoying.
Salazar?
Here's
on the
one
remake,
thing you need to do before
on the
buying
remake,
anything online.
He was
Don't spend
annoying
another
on the
dime.
remake. I agree. He was definitely annoying.
They made him look like a woman.
On Amazon
That's
until
weird.
you watch this first. Watch this.
Yeah, I don't know why
I
they
can
made
show you
him
how to
look
get
like
this.
a woman. That was annoying. Top 10 hardest parts.
They could have made him look more like...
Welcome to Mojo Plays, and today we're taking a look at the 10 hardest parts of Resident Evil 4
They should have made him look similar
if
to
you haven't
the
had a chance
original.
to dive into the latest game in Capcom's legendary action horror franchise, then here is your spoiler warning. How are you liking RE4 Remake so far? Let us know
How
down
you
in
like
the comments.
RE4 remake. What would you rate it out of 10? Dang.
Before we begin, we publish new videos all week long, so be sure to subscribe to Mojo Plays and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. Crossing the Fountains of Sickness.
What are you doing? Don't even think about trying this yourself.
This was hard?
This early section of Salazar's castle is already cumbersome to traverse due to its narrow and convoluted pathways, allowing enemies to get the jump on you if you aren't paying attention. But the real hurdle is getting Ashley to turn both valves to raise a bridge that's in the next room.
This was hard.
As she does this, you will need to watch her back as well as your own and fend off the incoming zealots. The trick here is priority management. Balance your time between downing zealots on the walkway and those coming close to your proximity. Easier said than done, but you best have enough ammo and resources to get through this.
Come on.
Yeah, this was pretty hard. I will agree. This was one of the hardest parts of the game. Especially if you didn't
Rammed by
prepare
the
for it.
ram's head.
Rammed by the ram's head.
I think the separate ways is gonna be on this.
Initially, this is a very tricky part of the three-headed beast puzzle, as one zealot lowers the catwalk and traps you in a narrow corridor just as it seems like you're about to nab the ram's head. Behind him is another zealot that will awaken the parasites inside the others, turning the area into a room of living blades. However, we want to put an emphasis on this being initially hard. You will struggle a bit if you're trying to do this legitimately, but there is a way to cheese it. Try to throw a grenade onto the balcony just before the zealot shows up. The blast should off him before he can even get a hand on the lever, leaving the ram's head for the taking and making it an easy escape for you and Ashley. Cold as ice.
I didn't put that as hard.
One of the most terrifying moments in RE4 Remake is the encounter with Vertigo, the beast who serves as Salazar's right-hand man, demon thing. Shortly after entering the cooling chambers, Vertigo will begin to stalk you, and he makes sure you are aware of his presence. While showering him with nitrogen isn't super hard, killing him for good is. Vertigo
you know,
boasts
the thing
a
is,
ton of health, so much that even a full
some of the
round
stuff
of
isn't
magnum
as
bullets
scary
won't be enough
because
to
it's
stop
like,
him. In other words, you will have to
we
give
played
him
this game.
everything
This
you've
is a
got,
decade
or go for
plus.
the easy way out and stall for the elevator.
Some new players are gonna play escape.
Hope you like thrill rides.
You're not suggesting we ride this thing.
Do you see any other way?
This is not hard
Keeping the
either.
minecart on the rails will be the least of your worries here in Chapter 11.
It's hard
What
to
makes
get the
minecart
achievement.
ride a bit tough is the reliance on making accurate shots. Some players might have a hard time with the speed of the segment, while others may not have those quick reflexes to activate switches on a whim. Don't get too discouraged if you find yourself dying a few times. This part of the game will take a bit of practice. Our advice? Try to spot those red barrels and switches as early as possible.
Jump!
Nice.
Oh yeah! Luis, can I get a hand?
Ashley's Sewer Bridge.
Get this for me.
Leave it to me. I'm actually pretty good at this stuff.
This one was a little annoying as
You'll
well.
be dealing with this sometime in Chapter 14.
But it's pretty
and
easy
it is
after.
one of the most aggravating parts of the game. To divert power to another sector of the facility, you will need to have Ashley turn a valve
Rise
to raise a
more
bridge
enemies.
and stay there so you can get back. Thing is that the second you make your way back, zealots will go after her while you get ambushed by a regenerator. There is very little time to react and run all the way back. Your
That
best
generator?
option is going to require some rifle or SMG ammo, and off the zealots from a distance with your rifle or SMG while the regenerator is still making its way towards you. Ignore him for now. Book it back to the bridge, and once across, Ashley will drop the regenerator into the nasty waste below.
Originally dressed back.
How do you like this?
How you like this?
A rigged carnival game.
Got a new game, stranger, just for you. Why not give it a try? It runs it.
The shooting gallery is an excellent way to nab key charms to get RE4 Remake to work in your favor. But if you're trying to go for that platinum trophy, you will need an S rank in every shooting gallery. This means you might be ramming your head in the wall when playing 4C. There is a specific pattern of weapons you should follow to not only make the most of your reload time, but to also take down the pirates as quickly as possible. It is possible to get the S rank without needing bonus time or even blasting every pirate, but you will have to make sure you're quick on the draw with swapping weapons and also taking care not to shoot as many sailors.
That'll do it.
That damn hex puzzle. This might sound ridiculous, but this puzzle was more of a head basher than a head scratcher. Just before reaching Del Lago, you will find a treasure locked behind an imprint meant for several hexagonal pieces. Finding them isn't even the hard part, it's
I was
arranging
about to say
them.
the same thing.
You can only arrange them by rotating 3 tiles at a time in only 3 ways, top, left, and right.
Yeah,
It
I
is
didn't
very
find this hard at
restrictive,
all.
and when you feel like you're on the cusp of solving it, one tile is out of place, forcing you to have to undo some of your progress. Why can't we just suplex the chest open like every other problem in our lives?
This game, you're not ready for
No,
it.
you gotta after this, you want to take it. After
The Dark
this, you got a
Souls
couple
of
minutes, 4
Capcom
minutes.
games.
Then you can go brush your teeth.
Alright. Time to get medieval on your asses.
We promise we aren't really describing
didn't
the
beat
game
this
like
yet?
this. This is stupid. But there is one
This
optional
part?
boss that might give you a hard time if you aren't properly equipped. One request you'll find in the ballroom describes a powerful and menacing knight lurking in the mausoleum.
You
This
should've.
golden armadura comes with 2 other armaduras to help him slay you, and they will take a beating. For reference, we used a handful of frags and a couple of heavy
The
grenades,
hardest part in the
thinking this
game
would
for
let us
me
get in and get
is
out.
the dog.
Not
Getting
as
the
easy as we
dog
thought.
treasure.
We ended up resorting
When
to
you
our
in the
bolt
village
thrower
again,
and
and then you
attachable
gotta,
lines to get rid of them.
there's like that
Again,
big dog
do
that
not
you gotta
attempt
hunt.
this unless you have
That is
plenty
the
of
hardest
explosives
part in the game
available
to
to
me.
you.
Yeah, that's right.
The tragic tale of the tiny tyrant.
Talk too much. Failed.
I love that he just started shooting.
Vulgar. Utterly uncivilized. Mongrel.
For a second, it seemed as if Ramon Salazar had his boss fight completely thrown away. Then Capcom turned around and gave us the thrashing of a lifetime. Salazar is arguably the hardest boss in the entire game, harder than Sadler even. Though not as vicious in movement and speed, he does not give you a lot of time to react to his attacks, let alone land some shots. You really have to play defensive and spend much of your time running around until he's calmed down a bit and exposed himself. And hey, if you can nail a good grenade toss at him like we did, you can probably maybe skip an entire phase. All of chapter 15.
Yeah, chapter 15 for the one.
Of all 16 chapters that make up RE4 Remake, chapter 15 is definitely the hardest of the bunch. Much of your time in this chapter will be spent with grunts on your ass and even a few big boys with the Gatling gun arms. And then you have the final fight against Krauser, where he fights you in his parasitic form and forces you through a gauntlet loaded with explosives. Yeah, this chapter is loud for its entire duration, and depending on how much ammo and resources you have, it might prove to be more than just a regular challenge.
What do you want?
I simply wish to share this gift with as many as possible. A humble wish, don't you think?
Did you enjoy this video? Check out some of our other videos here on
Mojo Plays. Shout out to Mojo Plays.
Great lists every day.
And I think that's about it for the night. We're about to go head out to bed. Carter has school, you know. And thanks for watching, you guys. We're getting off of here. We can make a ton of shorts off of this video.
Hey, you!
You got anything to say?
Me? Yeah, you! Don't you want to play something different? Bring it up!
More videos than me on my wall.
Yes, more videos.
Try this. Yo!
And we're out of here.
Valorant
Good
is a
night.
5
Thanks
versus
for
5
watching.
shooter. Will y'all
Bye-bye.
attack?
Hit that subscribe button for Beards VC Gaming.